Hey guys, another little video about my text-based GUI system and the new M65 Freezer application, utility application, which I've written using it. Now, it's almost finished, so I thought I'd do another little video. It's actually pretty much out of my hands. I've handed it over for testing. And here you can see in action. I'm having to use the real machine, and I've only got a dodgy camera. I don't have a HDMI video capture card device, so it's not fantastic. XEMU won't run it at the moment, and I'm not sure why, but it's not happy with it at all. Anyway, so here you can see the finished state page. I gave a bit of a overview of this last time. I got some feedback, and it's been improved significantly, and all of the options here, they all function. What else? We've also got the tools tab now. Launch these tools that they work, except the make disk image tool is expecting a great deal of particular state when it's parts control, and it doesn't seem to like what I'm doing. The other tools it took me a little while to get the startup routine because of the fact that the new freezer, this application, does a whole heap more tricky things than the previous freezer application did. So getting it to be happy about starting another process was a little tricky, but I got there. Okay, so what else is going to do? You can also mount image files. Let's have a look at this one. See here, I've selected an image file from the SD card, and it's showing me what's in there, and I can then accept it and mount it into the state, and then return to the running condition, and have that disk image in the drive. Fabulous. Anyway, now this control is quite significant. I want to give a bit of a rundown of that. All of the controls, except for this one, were written in ASM assembly. I wrote this one in C because it's a little bit complicated, and I needed to experiment a little because I actually reworked to get the hot tracking. I had to rework a little bit of the logic because it was not really what the system wanted to allow, but I have gotten in now. But there were conflicts, so I have to track it with the mouse as well as the keyboard. See here. So we actually have three item points here. Three items that I need to keep track of. One is the mouse hot tracking. See, the other is the keyboard hot tracking, and also the selected item tracking. Very complicated. I'm a little bit scared about translating it, putting it back to assembly. The code is a little complicated. but works nicely. It does need some optimization, but it's working very nicely. And I can also browse directories. It keeps track of your current location up to 8 deep. Um, but I, deep for a little while. Hopefully not, because it's not supported otherwise. But anyway, no. It just gives up on trying to track it and allows you to move there anyway. Um, so that's really it. I uh, I just wanted to give a bit of a introduction to the Freezer app since it's largely finished now, so you can all see. I hope you enjoy using it. Oh, I should say it does require a specific patch to the cores. There were some issues with reading the keyboard in the way that a more complex way than have been other people have been doing before, and so I need to understand the accelerator separate from the key presses, and that was a little bit tricky to do. So there's been some changes to the keyboard matrix decoding. Also, I put in I'll just mention quickly, I put in a change to make the freeze key the mega key plus restore rather than just restore, because it drove me and a lot of other people quite crazy that you could do it by accident. So now you need both hands, and it's much more controlled. Still, you can still cause it to freeze if you're not particularly careful, but it is a much more reliable process now with the mega key. Anyway, that is it now. That is it. I'm going to go. Oh, should I say? Oh yeah, I did name the libraries, the GUI system libraries. There's Carl Jr. and Jude. Carl Jr. is the object lifetime manager and is standing in for um, actual memory management and uh, hardware extraction layer. He'll be eventually I hope to make him a namespace browser and control objects coming in and out of the system. Although it probably doesn't need to be that complicated. Anyway, so I've named him Carl Jr. just because he doesn't all the things you might expect, but just enough. And Jude is the GUI system and widget library, which sits on top of Carl's object management. I should actually go into it because it's really quite spiffy. Um, you 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 almost have. I mean, if you've been done this sort of program before, you'll be aware of it. But um, I think it's really quite exciting how uh, I've built such a relatively objective system on such a simple platform. Um, yeah, I should say that the freezer is currently almost using all the memory available for it. This time, I can make more memory available, but I have to disconnect Jude and Carl Jr. And put them at fixed locations in the ROM space, which is my intention, but that's down the track. Anyway, that's enough. That's enough. That's enough now. So thanks for watching.